You can't keep up.
You can't keep up, and you can't order coffee except once a year. Like it's only a certain season. If you don't get enough coffee, your customers will have to wait for the next year. So it was always a delicate balance. Okay, 2 containers weren't enough. So how much is enough?
Right.
And, it grew to a point where certain coffees, and you ask the farmer, how many containers do you have of this coffee? I said, you can do 10 containers. We tell them, that won't do. We need more. So we will have to get coordination with multiple importers just so that we can satisfy the demand of coffee shops.
Let's be honest, cheap, watered-down drinks aren't cutting it anymore. Raw Beverage Trading partners with venues that want to win. We develop bold, consistent, damn good products made with real ingredients because your customers can taste the difference. Matcha, we're on it. Cold brew, best in class. We're not here to chase pennies. We're here to build brands, loyalty, and bottom line profits. Stop letting cost controllers call the shots. Raw is where margin meets meaning. If you're looking for a partner, not just a supplier, contact sales@rawcoffee.ae or check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Map It Forward Middle East podcast, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 1 of a brand new 5-part series, which I must confess I am ridiculously excited about. I have been wanting to have Wayel Al Wohaibi on the podcast from Sulalat from many years ago when we were doing the Map It Forward Middle East podcast in the very early days. And I've wanted to have him on the global podcast. So Wayel, welcome to the podcast. I'm deeply honored to have you here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lee. And I'm honored to be here on Map It Forward.
Thank you very much. You are the co-founder of Sulalat in Saudi Arabia. And folks, in this series, we are talking about the Saudi specialty coffee market from Genesis all the way into the future. And we're going to explore that through this 5-part series. And well, in this episode, we're talking about how you guys started the Saudi specialty coffee industry. You're one of the OGs, as they say, of the industry. And so as we get started in this discussion, I was wondering, could you introduce, because what's been really beautiful about the Middle East podcast is I really thought that it would just be something that would take off in the Middle East. Actually, it's taken off globally. And so there are people from the global audience around the world who may not know who you are and may not know who Sulalat is. So everyone in the region obviously knows who you are. You're market leaders. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and helping us understand who Sulalat is.
Okay. My name is Wayel Al Wohaibi. I'm a retired software engineer. I was a hobbyist in the field of specialty coffee. My background is computer software and mechanical engineering. So that gave me time to tinker with things. And once I got involved in coffee and roasting, I started to play with my own do-it-yourself roaster that I worked with people from the homeroasters.org, where they have a few forums for building your roasters. Some of them are even the size of commercial roasters.
Wow.
Essentially started as a hobby, and because there was no specialty coffee in Saudi Arabia at the time, but we were sharing our roasts with friends and family, and gradually my wife said, you should start a business, and it's obviously in demand. Saudis love coffee. But obviously anyone who tried it said, this coffee is different than the coffee we know. And I wasn't convinced because I'm really like a career programmer and employee.
Okay.
No notion of entrepreneurship or like I didn't know that world and wasn't really, but with a lot of pressure and as well uh, being convinced by Kim Thompson and Matt Toogood from Raw Coffee Company, where they also said, well, because I used to visit Dubai and take some courses with this guy and always bring coffee to sample and show them. And they said, you should start in Saudi Arabia. And I said, it's not in me. The business gene is missing. So they said, no,
Sounds like there's a lot of peer pressure here to force you into business.
absolutely. Like I was programmed. Business is a tough world and it's something
Yeah.
I don't understand. And so Kim and Matt basically said, we're closing at 5, just drop by. And I think we stayed until 9 p.m.
Wow.
on the business side. And I thought, okay, that's doable. Especially the beginning wasn't that costly. It was from home.
Yeah.
I have a huge basement at home where I actually could fit 2 containers of green coffee, plus the
Mashallah.
and all that.
You know, you understand that when you say to most people, I have a huge basement, they think that maybe you could put an extra washing machine in there.
Yeah. Actually, my basement was a car garage that the previous owner built, and I basically had no need for car garage under my house. So I basically shut it down and made it into a basement. And that came handy because I kept increasing the size of my roaster. I've put professional ventilation to be able to roast,
Wow.
package there, all the machinery. And me and my wife, we stayed in that basement for about 2 years. And eventually we had to get a warehouse outside. And once we started wrapping pallets and shipping them, we thought, okay, we need people to help us. We started hiring people and starting getting more warehouses. And we opened a showroom in Riyadh that people keep asking, is that like your first branch? I said, no, we're a roastery. We have no branches. We only have a showroom to show you all the equipment and our coffee. And we have a bar where you can sample the coffee and see all the equipment. Like we always insist on showing the bare bones of the bar where you can see all the water treatment and all the connections and changing of the filters and the minerals, just so that it can be an educational experience for visitors and coffee shop owners, because we focus on cleanliness. And sometimes if you open a business and you just buy a machine and that's it, and you give it to people to operate it, it will be dangerous within a few months if you do not maintain it and you don't care about the water that gets into it and all the safety hazards. Like if it's so much fault and you don't descale, it might actually blow up on you. And it's some coffee shops, like if you don't change the valves and safety valves. So we thought this showroom is basically us, and we're not opening any branches. And that's basically how it started. It's like from a hobby. And during the hobby days, I actually started to get to know people who are interested in specialty coffee. I remember one gentleman that we started the club with, but he wasn't interested in business. But gradually I started adding more people. I met Usama Al in...
Shout out to Osama.
Yes. I met him in Dubai during one of the SCA courses, and I told him about the club. And then met other people from Jeddah, and the club just kept getting bigger.
What is this club? Tell me about this club. This is the showroom you were talking about, or is this a different kind of club?
No, this is actually my house. Basically, in my kitchen, we have the several machines, and so just so that we can brew together and compare notes and do competitions. And sometimes we do roasting competitions outside, where everyone brings their roaster and coffee, and we would chip in and purchase something like 20 kilos from any green coffee supplier in the US who would supply us, especially with really fancy coffee, like something that's worth sharing and testing with. And from that club grew several businesses, uh, and some didn't want to go into business. It was like they have their own career, but they still like the coffee. And I would say the idea came to several of us in 2013 that we should have something in Saudi Arabia, especially in Riyadh. And by the time anyone did all their studies and paperwork, I would say 2014 started opening, like us and Osama, the roasting house, and Camel Step. And it was like a beginning, and we wanted to support each other and basically support any newcomers who want to get into the business, either as roasters or as coffee shops or as hobbyists. And as a new sector, it needed a lot of support. Like, because there's coffee in Saudi Arabia, but it's mostly commercial chains, and also all the equipment suppliers. They supply, like, none of them would know what is a V60 or what's an aero. Like, you really had to order it from the States, or if you'd drop by Dubai, you can pick some, but nothing here officially where you can basically drive up somewhere or order online and get it within a day. So we started to focus on equipment, because if you have great coffee, but there's no equipment to
Brew it
like,
on.
like I remember there were no grinders. No one had any grinders except espresso grinders and commercial. No hand grinders, none of that. It's only the what they call blade grinders, the one they use to break blonde coffee for traditional coffee, which wouldn't give you the taste profile or wouldn't be even worth trying on drip coffee. So that's basically the launch of the business, like how it started. I would say I wasn't really interested in it for the business, but once I saw that there's really no business, no one is doing it, and I thought it's something I like to do, and I like roasting. I like selecting the best green coffees that I can find, and I thought it's worth sharing with people. And if it succeeds, that's good. It's a blessing. If it doesn't, I'll still enjoy my hobby. So it was a test run, and it's been a fast climb ever since.
Turns out you're pretty good at business, hey? And first of all, I want to shout out to Kim Thompson, because this conversation is happening because of Kim. I asked Kim to make this introduction if she wouldn't mind, and she is the reason that we're getting to talk. So shout out to Kim. Kim is a big fan of you and the relationship and the days when you guys were building, you guys were establishing the industry here. And Kim was the first person who told me about your famous vacuum cleaner roasting machine. And Osama mentioned your club and your vacuum cleaner roasting machine in the series from the series before this one. So I know that you've built a substantial business, and we'll talk about that in a second, but I do want to ask you, what does it feel like looking back at those years, which was more than 10 years ago now, and seeing the fact that this is a real industry now because of
Uh,
what you guys did.
Sometimes it's hard to believe. It seems like a dream. Uh, now I see, if I was a hobbyist with the same enthusiasm, but nowadays it's easy just to look up a map and select a store and go get all your supplies and a range of all the coffees you could ever think of, like a choice of hundreds of personal grinders and preparation methods, or go to a coffee shop that specializes in certain geishas. Or it's what's happening now. It's something I was dreaming of if I could find at the time. It's like I remember when I
But
went.
you built that. It's there because you guys built it, all of you, as a coffee club.
Yes, and that's what I'm grateful that this opportunity now is for anyone who's interested, wanted to try. There is lots of options. Like, you no longer have to order from abroad and get it cut by customs to check for anything, or arrive stale, or order from a different country where you don't like their roasting methods or you haven't tried. And now you can even get courses from multiple places near your home. And like when we started, there weren't many trainers. Now it's like several academies in Riyadh where you can, or just places where you can try the machine or try the devices and ask questions. And so it's becoming like, from what I can see, is the scene in Riyadh is so advanced that it's hard to compare it to a place. Like, I've been to several places, and what's happening here is, even after 10 years, is still, the momentum is still there. And the challenge to find the best coffee, and every new coffee shop, and even auction coffees on the menus. It's for me, it's an ideal situation that I wish I was a hobbyist at the time and have
Again?
option.
Yeah, it's hard once you know how something's made. It's hard to just get excited about going and sitting somewhere and enjoying a coffee again without thinking about how they got here and where did the coffee come from and how did they grind it and what water did they use and blah, 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 blah. Just to enjoy a coffee now is a little harder on this side of it. I wanted to ask you, for those who don't know Sulalat, they might be actually quite surprised to understand how big Sulalat is. Can you give people an understanding of, folks, Sulalat is not like a cute little roastery somewhere in the middle of Riyadh. This is a big deal as far as businesses go. This is built for it's 12 years now, 13 years now Sulalat has been in business?
I would say officially our first online store was 2014. So I would say 11 years since we're
11
open.
years.
Probably a year and a bit just to prepare and do the studies and get the paperwork and convince myself and just
And be bullied into it.
yeah. Like I
How big would... Go ahead, please. You remember?
I remember one of my trips to Dubai when I was convinced we will start a business. That was probably 2011 or 12. I remember attending the Gulf Food and contacting several of the companies who bought their equipment. If you prefer to sell the equipment instead of shipping it back to your home, I'll take it.
Oh, wow.
So just so
How clever is that?
So I remember I took a picture from the balcony of my hotel room with an EK-47 on the balcony table. And I said, this is my travel grinder. So it's like,
How very Saudi of you.
So I thought just to get the equipment so we can be prepared to what equipment is good for commercial settings of specialty coffee.
Mm.
Because at that time, when I thought we will start, the dynamics of the Saudi market and the size of the market is so much bigger, and there's a lot of economy of scale. And because my background was a software engineer, it's like I worked
Mhm.
by the numbers, and everything I knew about the Gulf, opening a business in Dubai, which by no means is a disrespect to Dubai. Like they are so advanced. I'm just talking about the numbers and population
Mhm.
and the distances
There's
between.
no comparison. There's no comparison. Saudi's massive.
And the size. Like I remember when I wanted to order coffee, should I get one bag and start with? Should I
Mm.
get a pallet? Should I get a container? And thankfully, we had that huge basement because it didn't
Yeah.
take any time until I started filling full containers. Like I live in a neighborhood
Wow.
where the streets are so tiny. It's like 10-meter streets with parked cars on either way. And I had to tell my neighbors to remove their cars around midnight because there's a container coming. And we had to empty the container before 8 a.m. in the morning
The
with,
traffic.
yes. So it was so, like now thinking about it, I'm not sure. How did I do that? How did I dare to ask them and bring this full container? Like, I didn't know what's the size of a container. I knew it's a container. I didn't imagine the number of bags in it. It's like 320 bags
Yeah. Wow.
and how to pack it in my bedroom, top of each other. And so that immediately gave me some warning signs. You're in your second year and you're already getting two containers unloaded. You need
That's
to be
massive.
pace. And immediately we started to look at the business again and said, we need to put like the infrastructure for something big because I don't want to get people hooked onto specialty coffee. And then because
You
green,
can't keep up.
you can't keep up and you can't order coffee except once a year. Like it's only a
Yeah.
certain season. If you don't get enough coffee, your customers will have to wait for the next year.
Hmm.
So it was always a delicate balance. Okay, two containers weren't enough. So how much is enough? And
Right.
it grew to a point where certain coffees, and you ask the farmer, how many containers do you have of this coffee? I said, you can do 10 containers. We tell them, that won't do. We need more. So we will have to get coordination with multiple importers just so that we can satisfy the demand of coffee shops. Like when you work
Wow.
in blend and you have to maintain that blend. You can't change it.
Mm.
So we have like a huge Q grader team working on the selection of the blends and copying the auctions and deciding which auction to get into. And they've been maintaining two blends for 10 years. No one has
MashaAllah.
any different in the profile. So that's one of the things we had to work on for the infrastructure because I didn't want to do like first orders and get people disappointed
Mm.
and having them say, well, specialty coffee is just a fad. It will go away. It's just commercial coffee with more expensive pricing. I actually even had to wait until I get something special to offer to people, like a special uh, coffee.
Hmm.
And that one was an Ethiopian Woki Konga Natural, where I was able to get a good shipment of that. That was our
Hmm.
launch. And that coffee basically made it easy for us to tell them this is not normal. This is not what you used to. This is specialty coffee. And then what is specialty? So just taste it. Taste it and you'll see what's specialty coffee. It's something different. And that helped a lot. Most of our old customers remember that offering, which we kept trying to do better until we got into auctions. And I would say, like, we have the auctions for us is not really, it's not a commodity. It's not even very valuable, but we thought it's a way to reward the farmers and get to know the farmers, to build relationships post auctions. And we basically wanted to maintain direct lines with the farmers, and especially the farmers who care about their product, they care about their farm. They are willing to do the effort that's required to basically treat their coffee well, treat the workers well, which is very hard for the farmer. So the auction
Well,
is
sorry, something that you said that's very interesting there is that you introduced coffee to Saudi and you trusted people to taste it and they would see the difference to that. And that is what we call cultural palate. Like you're trusting in a sense that you will be able to aspire towards their cultural palate.
Yes.
Which is a real skill of the entrepreneur. And in the next episode, folks, we're going to talk about discovering cultural palate. So join us for what is going to be the rest of a delightful series. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.